back then, 12 years ago, there was a lot of underground, jazzy, funky, hip-hop stuff going on. Dilated Peoples, Jurassic 5. I had a band called Gravy, Black Eyed Peas. There was a lot of that going on. So we would do this, these things called like Pedros. There would be a live band playing, and then I would sit in and play trumpet. Will and Taboo would sit in and rap with us. So it was kind of like just a community, a family, and everybody was kind of mixing and matching, hanging out. And there was a guy, Scott Igo, who was the assistant to Jimmy Iovine. Scott Igo would come to my Gravy shows religiously. So it kind of came to a point where we're like, okay, well, why don't you put this on Jimmy's desk? Why aren't you bringing this as your project to sign? Like, what's wrong? What do we need? Nothing. I love it. It's great. Da 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 da. He ends up signing or bringing Black Eyed Peas to Jimmy Iovine, and along with DJ. And so to me at that time, I was like, okay, you know all of our stuff, have all our stuff, got our back. You're our boy. We hang out at your house. You hang out at ours. You have the key to our success right now. And then you signed kind of what is the competition. Black Eyed Peas. Not cool. So I don't know how much it was wearing on him. I'd like to say that he had many sleepless nights over it, but I don't think he did. When they signed with Interscope, they split the band from the musicians and the front vocalists, which, you know, that's not cool. But whatever, moving on. At that point, Scott thought, oh, Eureka, I got it. Let's call Printz, see if he wants to be the keyboard player. I said no. I do not want to be a part of Black Eyed Peas. I have my own thing, my own Black Eyed Peas called Gravy, and I don't want to leave these 8 people just hanging. So then I approached George Pahone, who was the guitar player at that time, George Pahone Jr., and I said, listen, you know, they called me to do this. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. He said, you're crazy. You know, I don't want to leave people hanging. So I go around and I look at everybody. Everybody's kind of got gigs, got something going, except George was working at this computer place. So I said, you know what? I called them back and I said, you know what? I'll do this, provided I can bring my guitar player along. And that's George. I said, he's great. Let's do this. They're like, well, we already hired a guitar player. And I said, well, I mean, that's kind of the deal. I bring my guitar player, then I'll do it. And they thought it over and called me back and said, okay, let's do this.
You know, you hear the stories of like the 5th Beatle, you know, the guy who left the band and then they went on to be the Beatles. It sounds like there's like 11 5th Beatles in this story.
Yeah.
Is everything cool with everyone, or is there any sort of, do you keep in touch with anyone, or is it?
Oh, yeah, no, everything's good.
Yeah?
I mean, my band was, George was in my band. Tim was in my band, and now Tim is in part of Black Eyed Peas as well. My percussion player, Chuck, always plays on our albums. My trombone player, Elizabeth, always plays on our albums. So, I mean, pretty much we kept the band still as an influence of Black Eyed Peas, you know?
That thing you talked about, that this is the part that people are going to chant and sing along to,
yeah,
sort of strikes me, because for you that means something very different than it does for, say, the punk band that plays to, you know, 50 kids in a, you know, squad club. Like, yeah, they chant along, but you're talking, when you say chant along, you're talking about 20,000 people?
Yeah. Or 100.
You had an idea in the studio, and like we've talked about, you kind of don't have the sense of, I hope people like this, I hope it goes well.
Yeah.
And then you get this confirmation back in the sound of 100,000 people singing it back to you. What's that like? I
mean, I can't even explain how amazing it is, really. I'll try to explain it, though, for all those out there. I would say that for me, I love seeing the little kids tearing up in the front audience, singing the lyrics, like dying, just trying to like reach Fergie's hand. The most amazing time was when I watched Where's the Love Grow? Because that was pretty much our first big major thing. And We were on tour with Justin and Christina, Justified tour. And like week 1 it came out, there was 3 or 4 people in the front row singing the words. Week 2, about 5 rows. Week 3, all the way back, the whole floor section. By week 4, the entire venue, 18, 20,000 people, were on their feet singing this song. And that to me, see, I'm getting goosebumps right now. If you can catch that. That to me is the most amazing thing. Like, okay, this song started because I put my hands on the keyboard and went, okay, that sounds good. Oh, let's go to that chord. Oh, and then that one, and then now that one. And now it's a worldwide phenomenon. That's so amazing. I can't even explain it. And I will never get over that. I will never be jaded on that, no matter what. You know, and when you write another song, you know, you do kind of search for that. You search for, damn, what's the next thing that's gonna grow like that? While at the same time doing what you want, but in the back of your mind, you're like, am I ever gonna be that good again? Am I ever gonna get that? The album after Where's the Love, Monkey Business, there was a lot of pressure. I mean, it was our 4th album, but it almost felt like our sophomore album. And it's like everybody's like, oh, I don't know if they can do it again. I don't know. And it's like, it was more the pressure of everyone else around the world, like thinking that maybe we wouldn't do it. And we're like, well, I mean, we think we can do it. You don't think we can do it? No. Shit, maybe we can't do it. It's pretty tough on the sophomore roundabout, you know, because we've always been, aside from that album, just been like, okay, whatever, we'll just do this and see what happens. We never know when we put out an album if people are gonna dig it or not. We're like, well, we're just gonna try this. Let's do it. I mean, we never did a song like Where's the Love before. And that whole album was different prior to 9/11. It was all these other funky, weird songs. And it became a thing where, oh wow, we probably should do something pretty conscious. That's what the world needs now.